everyone. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. My name is Minty. You can find me on Twitter at MintyBets. This gentleman here is Ralph Michaels at CalSportsLV, and Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports on Twitter. We are going to have an early look at the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl playoff semifinal. Clemson versus Ohio State. Both these teams have great defenses. Who comes out on top, Brian?
You know, it's interesting these two teams are playing because it's the two teams that my wife and I watch every single game on.
Aw.
So I've seen every single game they played this year.
That'll at the Leonard house.
Well, that's the thing is she roots for Ohio State, and now she's torn because she roots for Clemson also. Clemson has really dominated Ohio State lately when they have played. I think it may be a little bit different this year because I think Urban Meyer was a little bit conservative. And it worked very well when you're not playing an offense like Clemson. But it hurt them when they did play teams like Clemson. So this Ohio State team is just dominant on both sides of the ball, just like Clemson is. In fact, between LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State, the top three teams, I've got them all basically power rated the same, just a couple points off at the most. So this is I'm really excited about this little tournament they've got going on. In Oklahoma, as we have seen, can score on anybody. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But you've got two teams that run the ball extremely well against two teams who stop the ball from on the ground very well. You take a look at the quarterbacks. Lawrence has a 34-8 touchdown to interception ratio. Still excellent. Not as good as he did the year before, but still another excellent year. He ended up being much better as the year went on. Maybe he started catching some of his press clippings or something early in the season. It just looked like to me that he wasn't the same player. But as the year went on, he did get to be back where he was the year before. But Fields is amazing. 40 touchdowns, 1 interception. That is just tremendous. And
you're not going to win the Heisman.
And you're not even you're an afterthought in the Heisman race, even though you're one of the 4 guys showing up. But the one thing that gives Ohio State an edge here is they played the much tougher schedule by the rankings. And I cheated. I copied off of Rolf's for his rankings because he does a terrific job on the website. I believe they're 42 spots higher in a tougher schedule than Clemson is. I'm really excited about this game. The line's gone from pick to 2 from Clemson at this point?
Yeah, I even saw a 2.5 pop up and then it jumped back down.
If it gets to 3, I'll be on Ohio State.
Really?
As of right now, I'm torn on this game. I think anytime I can catch 3 points with any of those top 3 teams, I think that's the side you have to go, regardless of playing this one or the next game. But at this point, I think Ohio State playing that game last week, a lot of people just looked at that and said, well, they weren't very good. Well, they've been so dominant all season long, you can't help but play a bad game once in a while.
Yeah, well, the impressive thing was they got kicked in the mouth. They were down at halftime. They made the adjustments. Boom.
Yep.
We saw them go. Wisconsin was throwing those quick slants. Ohio State went from man-to-man to zone. That stopped the quick slants. And the first half was played without Wade, one of their best defensive backs. They weren't going to play him. They needed him in the second half. They played him, and they completely shut him down. So those adjustments, I'm not sure if Ryan Day can make them in the big game, but he certainly made them in the Big Ten Championship. When I'm looking at bowls, I like looking at road stats because teams can dominate at home against inferior foes. But when you're playing on the road, you're likely playing a conference opponent or a very good foe. Well, guess what? Clemson's number 1 in the country, plus 265 yards per game on the road or away from home. Ohio State's number 2 at plus 251 yards per game. Brian talked about the strength of schedule difference. I just want to take a second and go a little deeper. Clemson has played 1 top 20 offense, and that was Louisville. And they are on the bottom looking in as far as the top 25 goes. Ohio State has played 5. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Penn State, Indiana, and Michigan. Clemson has played 1 top 25 defense, and that's Pittsburgh. And that's a top 25 defense looking up. Ohio State has played 4. So the strength of schedule is much, when you break it down into the top 25 teams, it's probably even more than that as far as the season goes. With that said, I have Clemson rated 1 point better than Ohio State. I have them number 1 and 2 in my power ratings. But when I look at it, I legitimately have to give, in intangibles, Dabo Swinney an extra 1.5 because of having been there, done that, prepped for national championship games against Ryan Day, who has never even prepped for a bowl game let alone a national championship scenario. The other thing to pay attention to, finals week is coming up now as we film. Pay attention to anyone that gets suspended or can't play because of grades. There's always a handful of guys and that could be a real difference maker between these two teams. So, with that being said, I lean over the total. If Ohio State ever gets to 3, I think the Sharps will buy it right down. But if there's ever a 3 out there and I can grab it, I will certainly grab the Buckeyes plus the 3.
Very cool. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Brian. Guys, $2 Tuesday every Tuesday. Get the hottest handicappers' best bet for just $2 at both WagerTalk.com and our sister site, SportsMemo.com.